You want a piece of me, boy?
Nuclear launch detected.
Other side of the map, he didn't have any vision of this, and Elasis is going to try to jump on these queens. The drones are being pulled, but this one queen is going to get picked off immediately. It is going to be incredibly important for Elaser, I mean Transfuse. And he's going to be able to land at least a couple of them, and that seems like more than enough roaches and ravages to deal with these few Hellions and that one cyclone.
Laser a little bit by surprise. Nice connection.
Wow.
2 Banelings for 1 and 1 Baneling for a couple of Zerglings, and still
Oh my
Raynor
God.
actually destroying every single defense that Elaser has, and he's trying to transition into Roach Warren, but at the moment he needs units and he needs them fast. Right? And this is not looking well at the moment. Losing 3 Ravagers thanks to the 2 force fields. Mana just playing a flawless game.
Yeah, Mana could use a few more zealots, but Sarge's not ready yet. That's a beautiful storm though. In the middle of all these ravages, the second storm is great as well. And this army, with these 4 immortals in the back of it, it's just not going to die. There's no way this army falls.
This looks kind of close, but at the same time, those Immortals, they connect with Roaches, dealing 50 damage each shot, and every single unit is dying for Raynor. It's being split between the natural and the third hatchery. Those units, they can't really group up and fight in a real manner.
No support, there's not even a War Prism, so I think it's still better than trying to clean everything up back at home, and the Roaches are still very scared. Their action is complete.
Bio, he needs to use the disruption, not on his own units to be honest, and now everything gets cleared out from Major. That triple drop still doing damage in the background, but doesn't matter if you're losing everything in the opposite side of the map.
Army by Major, but that army is so much more powerful, especially with the upgrade advantage as well. I'm not sure what Drogo is supposed to do here. I would say just buy as much time and avoid the Liberators.
Yeah, he's gonna try to fight anyways. The Liberators won't see jump yet, but that's a win! And welcome everyone to Starcraft 2 Nation Wars. The countdown was still going on in my head, even though we were live. I hope you guys feel good. I'm joined with my good friend Johan Todd Merlo.
We're
Ça
friends,
va?
yeah. Doing pretty good. Excited for today's games. Excited to see if France can make it out. If South Korea can make it out.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? I mean, they didn't make it out in first place, so anything's possible, right?
Exactly. The story of today, 6 nations and only 2 spots remaining in the round of 8. But first of all, we will talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Yesterday was just, how would you sum it up? I would say the major show, right?
Yeah. I think that would be a good way to summarize it, because that guy put in some real work and almost single-handedly qualified Mexico for the round of 8 in a pretty stacked group,
Yeah.
I would say. Like, Poland definitely was the team that was regarded as the one that I think a lot of people thought was going to make first here. 4-3 against them, so pretty close, but they did get the victory, and then getting the win against France. Not the first time it happened in the Nation Wars, but the defending champions, like shapes change. Obviously, France not doing as well as last season, but still, defending champion.
Yeah, defending champion, but still in the losers match. And that's not a really great position to be in, as we mentioned. Major yesterday was just playing sick, as he was playing crazily good, and it was really hard to take down. There's a lot of stuff that we actually said in an interview just after the show, so we'll talk about this and just look at this video just for a couple of minutes. Let's go.
Italy against Poland, as expected. Poland just went out guns blazing.
And sadly, none of the Italian player was able to take a map before our Rainer went onto the field.
Rainer qui sauve l'honneur sur une game. Mais l'Italie, au fond, malheureusement, elle n'a pas pu reproduire l'épisode de la Chine.
Il n'y avait pas photo, quoi. La Pologne était vraiment au-dessus. Je pense qu'ils sont clairement... Ils peuvent gagner la compétition.
Et la Pologne qui confirme quand même, probablement la nation la plus forte juste derrière la Corée. Et ça, c'est pas forcément très très bon pour la France qui est dans le même groupe du coup.
Second Nation Wars of the night was a highly anticipated rematch between Mexico and France from Nation Wars 2 in the semi-finals.
Bon, ok, la France a perdu, mais bon, on va pas pleurer pour autant. On a eu un Major qui était vraiment incroyable en TVZ contre Stefano. Bon, le Français a rien pu faire, mais c'est pas grave, on le retrouvera demain.
La game de Drogo contre Major sur tourbillon. Drogo qui fait preuve de son plein niveau, de son plein potentiel.
Major, with the revive, took him out, then took Stefano out, and in a really, really tense game 7, where Drogo threw away a little bit of his army towards the end, actually lost the game, and this is a 4-3 victory for Mexico.
Forcément un peu déçu. Après, Major a montré quand même qu'il était très très fort. On savait pas trop où il était. En tout cas, moi personnellement, je savais pas trop à quel niveau était Major. Là, on a compris. Ok, il peut encore gagner le tournoi.
And obviously, everybody in the O-Gaming studio is a little bit crying at the moment.
Poland against Mexico, everything was going according to plan and Poland was doing really well. And then Major
qui refait une Nation War 2 et qui all-kill complètement, reverse all-kill la Pologne.
It was all Major, actually. He had some amazing games. Game number 7, what a weird build. Air, mech, Terran.
They awoke the beast, they summoned him, he decided that there was no way Mexico was going to lose in the round of 16 once again.
Et ça fait pas vraiment nos affaires, parce que ça veut dire qu'on va devoir jouer la Pologne en loser match, en decider match.
Et accessoirement, que les Polonais vont devoir quand même travailler parce qu'ils sont pas les seuls sur la ligne. Donc c'est vraiment des matchs de fou, quoi.
Tense games and obviously a tremendous performance from Major yesterday, but there's still some games to be played, but actually we will not be starting with those deciders and losers game from this group. We will go back to Brazil versus Sweden, which will be our first game. I guess we could refresh a little bit of those memories by going to the bracket of this group. This was Group Korea, and as you can tell, not a single nation that was the highest seed that actually had the name of the group named after themselves. Korea is not taking first place. Same goes for Poland, same goes for USA. Every single nation that was supposed to be the best is actually having a little bit of trouble. Korea waiting in the deciders match, but first of all, Brazil versus Sweden.
Yeah, Scarlet brought the pain against Korea, and now they're going to be in the decider match. But first up here, our first match of the day, Brazil against Sweden. Should be a good one. We don't really, see these guys go up against one another too often, like from these lineups. So, any kind of potential Kelazuro match against one of these Zergs that we have on the Swedish team sounds quite fun, especially knowing how much these guys love these Reapers and all that. So it could be a very fast match actually. Like we've had some long ones, we've had some short ones. Maybe a record broken here.
Yeah, of course. That match will be tough with a full Zerg lineup on the side of Sweden. On the opposite side, Kelazur, Eric, Master, all races represented on the side of Brazil. But we can just wait a little bit to talk about that because we've got the captains ready with an interview. So guys, take it away.
Thank you so much, Fonka and Johan. Jazz, we're ready for a very long day of StarCraft over here. How are you feeling?
Very long day. I'm excited for it, but I'm also quite worried when it comes 6, 7, 8, 9 hours later. Hopefully I'm still excited.
3 a.m. passion. I'm ready for it. Let's take a look if the captains can join us on Skype, as I believe we're going to hear a couple of words from, obviously, Diego, the captain of Brazil. Well, we've got Namchar on Skype today. Namchar, how are you?
Hey.
Hey guys, yeah, I'm doing good, thanks.
Were you the captain last time as well? I can't remember if we already saw you.
No, was here last time because my internet was acting up, so I couldn't make it in time for the interview.
And Bergman had enough of these terrible interviews. He said, Namchar, you do it. How are you guys feeling? Let's start off with Namchar, just because you're already speaking a little bit. How are you going into this match against Brazil? Are you worried? I mean, Kelazur has a little bit of a reputation as the Reaper Man, the Boogeyman himself. You guys worried at all or feeling confident?
Yeah, we're fully confident, I have to say. We're feeling pretty good, yeah. But obviously, Kelazur is a pretty big threat, have to give him that. But yeah, we're feeling good. And worst comes to worst, we have the mechanics monster, Bergman himself, to take care of the Terran threat, so we'll be alright, I think.
And Kelazur, how are you feeling? Are you ready to take on TVZ for the team?
I'm a little scared, there's 3 big Zergs on Sweden team, but I think I can do it, and I think my team can do it as well.
Are you guys, well, obviously surprised, I guess, but are you guys also very concerned about the fact that Canada actually was able to win this group, which means that even if you make it out of this round, you have to go up against South Korea. Is that something that worries you, Namchar?
Well, I have to say I didn't really expect them to take out Korea like that, but I don't know. Anyway, it will be fun to play Korea, I think, and we're still feeling pretty good about it. So, yeah. We'll be alright, I think. We'll be alright. We're looking forward to it.
If you look back at that match, I felt at multiple moments there was definitely opportunity for Sweden to perhaps win that nation war against Canada. And then obviously everything would have been different, right? You guys would have had a shot in going up against Korea. You guys still thinking about it, or that's the past and we're going to move on and just take out South Korea later today?
Yeah, we're trying to forget about it and just focus on what's ahead of us. And yeah, we're just going to do our best. And yeah, we're going to try to go all the way, of course.
And for Kelazur, if you have to face South Korea again, do you feel like you have more experience and you're ready to go against the likes of, well, Bjorn, I believe, who took you out yesterday, or 2 days ago it was. You do better?
Yeah, I watched the replays a little bit. I made some mistakes. There could have been even games, but it was just like a silly mistake. And we both watched over a few things in case we advance over Sweden to have a better chance against Korea.
All right, well, we're going to have a very long day of StarCraft today, so we're going to keep it short. Namchar and Diego, who's going to be the starting player for you guys?
Well, for us, it's going to be me.
Okay.
And we're going to start with Eric.
So let's kick things off with a little ZVZ. Yeah. Namchar, any final words for Brazil, and what do you think is the score going to be?
It's going to be hard for them, I think. I'm going to go with a 4-1 in our favor. Maybe they'll get one map. We'll give them that. But yeah, we're feeling good about this one.
All right. What about you, Diego? Any words for Team Sweden? And what's your prediction?
I think we'll win 4-3. Eric is going to take at least a couple maps.
All right.
Wow.
All right. I like it. Well, good luck, guys.
We'll see about
that. Looking forward to the games. And yeah, good luck. Go get ready. Yeah. Confident words from both captains.
I was really surprised for Kelazur's confidence that his teammate right there. ZVZ must be his jam.
I mean, Eric is good. I mean, he's been way over 6K for a while. He's definitely a character in the North American scene. I think a lot of the Europeans not that familiar with Eric, but especially in the North American scene, he's made some waves. He had a couple of very fun show matches. So I'm excited to see him in action as well, and I think it should be good.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great match. I guess ZVZ might actually be what we're going to see today if Eric continues to do well. But of course, I'm really looking forward to the TVZ if Kellezer has to be brought out.
Yeah, well, that's going to be it for us. Let's go back to the boys to get the first game started.
Thank you, Roddy and Zombie. Indeed, pretty cool interview, and yeah, confident words from both captains. And I'm actually looking forward for the performance of Eric. Kellezer said that he was confident in his skills and ability to take some games, and he will be the first player playing for Brazil.
And hopefully it's actually him playing today, you know, and we don't have another.
We don't have somebody else swap into the game, say, go, 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 sorry, I'm late. That's what happened yesterday, to be honest with you guys. We will take a look at the Brazil lineup. Kellezer, Eric, and Master. Eric will be the starting player, the Zerg player from Brazil, with a slightly kind of bad ratio in ZVZ, to be honest. But I don't know if that will take that will be that important in this game. Like, this is still a best of one.
Look at this guy. His pulse earnings $4,200. That's more than a lot of people that talk a lot about being good at video games. So he's already put in some good work and definitely could earn a couple more dollars here in these tournaments.
Of course. 30K are in the line on those Nation Wars 4. Kellezer, the team captain, and obviously the most accomplished player in the Brazilian lineup. Once again, not that many info on Master.
Not even a photo, apparently.
Yeah, not even a photo. But probably a... just a question mark that will the weakest link in the Brazilian team, and we probably won't be seeing him too early. We hope for Brazil that Eric can get those games, as Kellezer mentioned. On the opposite side, the Swedish lineup, the old Zerg lineup, and three really accomplished players, I feel. Like Namshar on the rise as the team captain, sort of, obviously $50,000 in career gains. And Sam for Zenster, I mentioned, is semi-final in WCS, the year Lilbo won. So those guys, they definitely are here for business.
Yeah, I feel like any of these guys on a good day can all kill, I think, Brazil. So that's why I predicted heavily in favor of Sweden here, and I'm feeling it for them. I'm not going to underestimate them again.
All right, can we take a look at the, we can take a look at the first map, which will be Overgrowth, but I would like to see a little bit about those predictions that we made, so you guys can know what we feel about this game. And you can also, you guys, tell us how you feel about this game by using the hashtag SWEWin or BRA win, Brazil win and Sweden win, to show to show your support to your favorite team. Can we get the predictions? Are they ready? Yes, that's the hashtags you want to use on Twitter, and we will be monitoring those numbers and see a little bit who you think is favored in this one. I do believe that I predicted Sweden to make it out.
What score?
I think I said 4-2. But we will take a look at those predictions after the first game because it's already in. So let's go into first game of Brazil versus Sweden. It's going to be a ZVZ. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Starting in the top right-hand side. Already with quite a few buildings on the way. We're late. It's Eric.
Yeah, lots of games have to be played today, so we are not losing any time. We want you to be able to enjoy all those games before it's too late. In the bottom side of the map, representing Sweden, is the blue Zerg Namshar. Okay, so first of all, in terms of opening, none of those two players went for a crazy aggression, which makes that even us being late at the beginning of the game was not that bad.
Yeah, the main thing I can notice is that they're both getting speed at around the same time, but a bit of an earlier hatchery ready on the natural here from Eric.
Yeah, probably skipped the drone, dropped that hatchery a little bit sooner. Some Zergling against Zergling action at the moment. Some nice, warm-up, I guess, end warmers. Let's micro the Zerglings on creep and not try to lose any of them too early on the side of Namshar. And that drone, super quick drone, will go to the third hatchery. I guess those Zerglings will be too late to block this hatchery from going down, but gonna deal a little bit of damage to the hatchery. Actually, Namshar needs to go out. Yeah, not losing a single Zergling here.
I think Eric's baiting aggression here from Namshar. He drops down that very quick third and tells Namshar, go for aggression, please, because if you do that, I will have Banelings ready and I will crush whatever amount of Zerglings Bane you throw at me, and then I'm going to be super far ahead. So we'll see if Namshar chooses to go for that. So far, he's only joining up, and Eric's actually the one getting a lot of Zerglings out right now, so he's gonna be the one that's aggressive. So he's not just baiting aggression, he also wants to play to his image of the one guy that might be playing greedy. And on the opposite, he's gonna be the one headed across the map to try and basically ride out, kill Namshar, or do a ton of damage to him.
Okay, Namshar gets to scout those early Zerglings and now sees the rest of them. It was about 20, I believe, that will go and stream down to that third and try to cancel it if possible. 20 Zerglings and 2 Banelings in the production tab. Those 2 Banelings from Namshar might get some connections. Already 2 are out. And for the moment, the micro from Eric is not that bad. He's getting a little bit of damage. Didn't get any huge Baneling connection on his Zerglings. We'll try to get some more damage done. 2 Banelings against 4. We'll trade 2 for 2. Decent trade, I guess, for Eric at the moment. Can he get more damage done on that hatchery?
If you could get the hatchery here, this would be huge, but there's the threat of those Banelings that will force Eric back here for now. So Namshar, it looks like he might have defended this. And behind this, both players going to a Roach Warren. Namshar with a little bit of an earlier one, an Evo Chamber as well for some upgrades, and Lair starting a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I'm guessing we're not gonna see any Lair actually coming from Eric. He did drop that third hatchery super fast, but I believe it's for Larva. We can see a Roach Warren and a lot of overalls clearing up a little bit of supply here. And we'll try to go for the attack. It's a tiny Baneling connection on this side of the map. Not that many Zerglings died, I believe. Oh, maybe quite a bit actually, with the run by to the main and those Banelings. Yeah, actually all the Zerglings died right here. And we can see like now a huge number of roaches getting built. This is gonna be a 3-base all-in from Eric.
Yeah, and he's gonna be spotted early because there's Zerglings across the map here trying to be aggressive from Namshar. He's gonna spread out some of these across multiple bases. Starts +1 missile. Namshar is starting a lot of stuff that will not help him in the first place against that huge attack that's going to be headed his way, but he's going to be starting to get some of his own roaches here right now.
Yeah,
and he cross-spread very nicely between the natural and third, so these roaches are going to be rejoining that position a little bit faster.
Yeah, obviously super important to get those Crypt Shimmers going, to get your units to go from one place to the other super fast. Double Spine Crawler, actually triple Spine Crawler, 1 to the natural and 2 on the third base location. Nothing but units coming out from Eric, but Namshar, as you mentioned, did pick up on the fact that there was no drones and a lot of units streaming in, so he's also doing the same. 7 more roaches will come in, 1 Ravager on the prediction tab. That +1 is not going to finish anytime soon, about 40 seconds until completion. Can he hold on here with the Zerglings going to the fray and trying to get a pretty nice surround for themselves with the Ravager combo and the Bile, and at the moment Namshar is dropping in supply.
Yeah, the roaches of Eric though took quite a bit of damage already. He needs to be careful not to lose those and make sure that the Lings are actually fighting. Look at all these roaches.
Oh yeah.
Gonna be attacking the hatchery, and maybe he might be sacking some of his army to snipe that, which sure is nice. He's actually caught up pretty well on the worker count. So behind this, Eric starts a lair. He knows that his production is going to be superior here from there, but these units are trapped down on the map. And these Ravagers are not going anywhere.
This attack could have achieved 2 things. Like either win the game right away if Namshar wasn't being cautious enough, but still getting the third hatchery and a couple of drones makes it for a decent position for Eric. I mean, he's still living in the game, but in terms of upgrades, he's so behind at
absolutely, yeah. It's going to take forever to finally get Roach Speed Glial Reconstitution. That's now on the way for Namshar, and +2 missiles started immediately. That's really sick, actually. Like, if he can get that beat with that one upgrade ahead and just have a ton of roaches, the next fights that Namshar will take with this upgrade lead might decide the game and finish it for him.
So does he recognize that he's so behind in terms of upgrades and try to cut some corners and get some different units out of the way? Maybe some lurkers for instance, to try and defend the third base location and the second and the natural at the same time. I believe we have like a proxy forward hatch. What is this on the? Oh, that was okay. It looked like a hatch from far away. I was like, this sounds like really weird.
It's okay, Funka. We haven't been fed yet, so catering's coming later. Don't worry.
It's tartiflette today. It's gonna be a hell of a meal, I can tell you. 7 more roaches and +1, but that difference in upgrades is just terrible for Eric.
I can't wait to cast with that food coma. 8 more drones on the way from Namshar. He's posturing forward here, looking to maybe try and be aggressive. Bile actually lands here on one of those queens, but I think Eric should have enough there. As long as he doesn't take a really bad fight, he needs to regroup with the Reinforcing roaches.
That corrosive by connecting to 2 roaches actually hurt him so much, and now with the speed roaches actually finishing up, now he gets to get a fight. Namshar, that is, will get some drones because Eric has to pull back or else he will lose his entire army, and I think this is starting to snowball out of control for Eric. I don't think that he can hold on to the hatchery, right-click right on it, and 12 more roaches, but way too late for a Brazilian player.
The supply, look at it!
Look at the supply, Todd!
He's got 40 more supply here, those Namshar, and having sniped that 3rd hatchery, he's gonna have way more production here on the way. As long as he keeps on dodging those corrosive bite, he's gonna be able to do fine. He's gonna go for the kill, and it looks like Sweden may be going up 1-0 with a less than 10 minutes game here. Kinda like me against Coca early on ladder.
And that sounds a little bit bad for Brazil in general, because Calazur mentioned that he expected Eric to get some of those games going in ZVZ, but right now he's gonna lose that first game. That looks like it. More Ravagers, more Roaches, more everything, more upgrades for a Swedish player, and now Namshar gets the rest of the Roaches, GG gets cold, and Sweden gets the 4th point on the board.
Wrecked.
Wrecked.
Top-decked.
Oh, top-decked. Yeah. Out-memed.
That was easy. Like, I guess good defense. Like, sure, the hatchery died from Namshar, but then he was able to get all of these very important units. And from there, when you're ahead in upgrades, even though, like, I mean, obviously his production was weakened a little bit. His economy not even that much. He was ahead in walkers for the most part. He made the most of it. That was the perfect counter-attack and just regrouping from him. So, good job, Namshar, I guess.
Yeah, I guess maybe too much of a, a classic build coming from Eric, like quite a bit anticipated from his opponent on this one, going for, the no tech, just, stay on hatchery tech for a bit. 3 hatcheries, lots of roaches, got scouted super early, and now, yeah, of course, a guy with the potential and the skills of Namshar will realize that there was something going wrong and just drop the roach warren in the perfect timing.
And the next map is going to be Daybreak, and then after that, Newkirk. So, I don't know, like, I feel like both of these maps are pretty good for Zerg against Terran, no?
Those are not the greatest...
If you were Calazur, when would you come out? I got the predictions, actually. Everybody's got Sweden.
Yeah, 4-1, 4-2, 4-0. You did say 4-0, and I didn't think about it. So everybody believes that Sweden has it at the moment. It's looking like it with that first victory.
You think that Calazur will win 2 maps, I guess?
That's how I felt it too, yeah. I don't have that much faith in Master from what we've seen from him. And yeah, it could have either be like, Calazur taking 2 games or 1 game each between him and Eric. But yeah, Eric falling down that's early, and clearly there wasn't that much of a fight. Like Namshar didn't get like blindsided by anything that Eric tried to throw at him. So
like in my mind, Daybreak is like a super Zerg map, but I guess like I was talking about it with Roddy, and in TVZ it feels like it's the one map that you will see almost all the time. So maybe Calazur comes out now and. The thing is, though, like when it's Calazur, you theorize Reapers and Proxy Reapers, which on this map are a little bit more obvious. So that makes it less likely that he will come for it, but maybe just kind of like play standard, or maybe he does it anyway, and then like Namshar is really surprised by it because of the map.
Well, we'll see. Maybe he goes on to Daybreak. I believe, like if you're feeling comfortable in playing those split map situations, as Major showed us yesterday, he could be going for a strategy like this, aiming for the really really late game. But I don't know if Calazur is feeling that comfortable in those kind of situations. It's more like a guy like, I'm gonna go for timing. I'm gonna go for Reapers and then into timing. Next player for Master.
Did he get spoiled?
Did we get spoiled? We will see in 10 seconds. I can't wait. Okay, next player for Brazil. I hear production a little bit.
I wonder who it is. Master.
Next player for Brazil is Brazil. Yeah, who would have known? Yeah, it's gonna be Master.
Oh my God.
So it's gonna be a ZVP then on Daybreak. I hope he has a build, and I hope he.
I have a build. Say T-Drogo.
I hope he does have a build against Namshar.
Carriers, man.
Yeah. Would you reckon it's a good map to camp on 3 bases and try to get carriers out?
It is, but Namshar probably played 10,000 games on European ladder against it, and he's like super carrier proof, so I doubt it will work. So no, don't go carriers.
Don't go carriers.
Don't do something else.
What do you go for then?
You go for 4 Dark Templar opener with the War Prism.
Mm-hmm.
You get the 2 Archons, because a lot of people expect DTs, but then you come in with Archons, you kill a couple of units, and then you do an all-in with 3 Immortals
With
and
the
7
Immortals.
gates charge.
Yeah, you drop the Nexus, but you don't build any probes for it. And guys, the game is actually already started. Game 2 between Brazil and Sweden. This is now. Or not.
Or maybe not.
Or maybe it's not coming now. But still, it's going to be a sick game when we actually get to see it. Right! Alright, I'm going to do the introduction that you love. Bottom left! As the Protoss player in the red, he is Brazil. No, he's Master.
I was like, what?
I did that on purpose, if you're wondering. How are you going to introduce this one?
I'm leaving it to you.
Alright, in the top right for Sweden, he is Namshar. Getting an easy and quick win against Eric in the first game. Now gets to make it a 2-0 for his country.
Definitely one of those players that flies under the radar a lot for how good he is. And by that time, he's underestimated, not rated as high as, I mean, how good he actually is. Not always given the respect that I think he deserves.
Oh yeah.
And like I said, maybe an all kill here from him will help that in terms of popularity and people realizing how good Namshar actually is.
Yeah, I love those players actually that do that, you know, that great performance in a tournament, and they're like, now, please guys, don't forget about me. Like, you know I'm here, and you know I'm potent. I can win games, I can win tournaments, I can push my team further and further away in those nation wars. We'll see if Namshar has what it takes. I actually do agree with you. I do feel like Namshar has a lot of potential and is a really strong player. And for Master, like, not having the greatest ratio of all time in Nation Wars 4, obviously. Brazil got 4-0'd in the opening match against Korea. But now, I would say, an opponent that he can take down. I mean, he's not playing a Korean professional player, he's playing against Namshar, a really great Swedish player, but not as good as what he faced against Korea. So maybe the moment that we realize that Master actually deserves his spot in the Brazilian team.
I really don't think Master should take it to the late game here, or even like, you know, try a 3-base macro. I really think he should all-in, that's his best chance. If he makes more than 44 probes, I really don't think he will find much success against someone as good as Namshar. I mean, maybe it's because I'm not super familiar with him, maybe he's like secretly the sickest macro player, but I doubt it's against Namshar, so I hope for him he's got some well planned out builds. So far it's looking good. It's just going to be a Twilight opener. Could be Resonating Glaives and a couple of Adepts. Could be the Dark Shrine opener that we see a lot of against Zerg nowadays.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think the transition, if you go for that 4 Dark Templar drop, I really wish that he goes for that transition into Immortals and that you know, offbeat timing with a couple of Stalkers, Adepts, and Immortals and Archons. If you did micro properly and didn't lose any unit, the timing on the robotics facility actually tells me we should be seeing that Dark Shrine.
Sometimes when you know you're playing against a player that's supposed to be better than you, the best way to win is just to go for that all-in and kind of try and maybe sell a story here and there as well if you can, but just going for something that gives you the best chance to win makes sense. Moment knows all about that.
Oh yeah, he's the master of it. The player with the most, you know, brain tactics. Like, he tries to get into inside your brain and make you forget how to play Starcraft. That happened to you last year.
Yeah, and he fled to USA now to dodge the rematch.
Good thinking of him. He actually dodges pretty well. So, at the moment, what actually scares me a little is that we don't see any Dark Shrine. Oh! Super quick Templar Archive. That's interesting.
I guess you can still do... because like you go Dark Shrine, but that's kind of like you hope for it to be scouted, and then the opponent will overreact with Spores and stuff. You can also get 2 Archons if you're gonna get Templar Archives like this, and because he was delayed, he might already have the gas as well because he took the 2 on his natural like just now. So I guess maybe he still goes double Archon. Storm Drop against Zerg. I mean, against somebody like Namshar, like, do you really think he would be AFK and like let you storm the drones? I don't think so. So I feel like maybe just drones into some sort of charge all-in, or double Archon opener is definitely more likely than us seeing Storm here.
But what about like potential surprise Storm in a frontal fight? Like, I agree with you that the Storm drop, like a guy like Namshar, if you're not getting attacked everywhere at the same time, it's gonna be hard to get so many drones. But maybe Storms in a frontal fight that Namshar would not expect, that works quite well against Terran, I would say. But let's see if it's the case in Protoss against Zerg. Sorry.
Because you already open with double Archon, and then you won't have High Templars. I think it's like it would take too long, right, to get Storm and then new High Templars and stuff. So I think he just basically doesn't want to spend as much money on his Archons and spend more gas.
Interesting. So maybe connecting it with the timing with Zealots because it does have a lot of minerals.
I mean, there's already 47 probes as well. Like, Master doesn't have to all in. I did think that it would be better for him if he did, but maybe he wants to take it to longer. And yeah, we see more probes starting now.
Yeah, he cut probes for a bit to get those stalkers going on. Like, we can see them in production time getting some stalkers. We'll take that over a lot of way.
This is a bit unusual though. Like, most players, they will go charge here. Some people will go resonating glaives. And Blink is also an option, but we don't see it as much perhaps. And now, none of these have started yet. So I don't know if Master's waiting to see something to decide, but yeah, it's going to be charged, which I think is definitely one of the best way to do this here.
So mass charge lot and Archons probably will be the composition that Master goes for in this game, because we're still not seeing anything from that Templar Archive. No Storms at the moment. Lair was super late in this game.
Yeah.
Actually, gambled a little bit. He could have been DTs. He would not have been able to produce any Overseers. He did plan down the Spores because he knew it could be a possibility, but quite a gamble. It's working pretty well from Namshar. 60 drones and a lot of hatcheries going down.
He's not that far ahead Walker-wise though. Like, I think timing could be dangerous. Obviously, banings are going to be very important, especially if you can get a very high amount of these guys. And considering the gas that Namshar has, he should be able to get a good chunk of these. Very important banelings, because if he doesn't, I really think that an Archon Charge Lot Immortal army will crush him eventually.
Alright, didn't go for more micro here with that Prism with 2 Archons, just getting a couple of Zerglings. Economy mostly untouched on the side of Namshar. Same goes for Master, no harassment, no drops coming out from our Zerg player, but a pretty good creep spread. Really quick 4th hatchery too, and 4th base I should say, and a macro hatch. So that gives me like an idea of mass Ravagers, mass Roaches, mass Lynx, like mass low tech units in general. He needs lava for this, but he will have to hold against that first push. 92 army supply for Zerg against the 70 of our Protoss player. Let's go for this one. The Zerglings will go for the wraparound. The Archons getting some amazing connection. Nice micro on the Prism, saving those 2 Immortals and going for another whop in here.
And Protoss has more army supply here. He's going to get right in there. Those banelings really don't do that much. There were not that many just yet, and reinforcing with a lot of Zealots allows this guy to charge forward, make sure they hit at least once and keep these Immortals alive consistently. As long as Master doesn't lose the Prism, he might be able to keep on pushing through, but he knows that right now Namshar is only making units, so he's going to be pulling back a little bit.
Yeah, pulling back against a Zerg that's still stuck on not so much of a great technology, I believe. That Prism will not go down now. Nice dodge at the last possible moment. Yeah. In this fight, losing those 2 Archons in the middle actually hurt him really, really bad, because that was his frontal side of unit that was supposed to tank for everything, but then when they died, he had to pull back. And now, like, that game still could be anybody's. He will drop down the Spire. Namshar, interesting strategy. He sees that there is no Blink available. Why not? Why not? Ling Roach Ravager and Banelings into Muta was a strategy that Snoot was trying to go for a little bit in a couple of months from now. A couple of months away. We'll see if he tries to do the same here, Namshar. Still no 4th base for a Master. That frightens me a little bit.
He's going to take it now. Like, the walk account, though, is really nicely in his favor. And because we see Pneumatized Carapace and +2 melee upgrade, I think Namshar might be starting to drop banelings very soon all over the place in those mineral lines to try and blow up some of these probes.
Remember, +2 attack banelings will one-shot those probes, which is kind of cool. If you're a Zerg player, obviously. No, it's not. You're a Protoss player.
Or maybe it's not.
Or maybe it's not. Indeed. Pneumatized Carapace is not done yet, so those overlord drops, those dropper lords, will have to wait a little bit. But as we can see, there's still some juicy mineral lines with a lot of probes here. 17 in the main, 16 to the natural. So there's definitely some probes that can be blown up. Prism will be activated again and try to get some damage done to the main.
Oh, it's nice that he spots that, because Master might be able to realize what's headed his way. It's pretty scary though, like the lack of upgrade from Master. Like sure he has the +1, but I think getting +1 plasma shield or even +2 attacks would have been really nice there.
Alright, he needs to pull back with those Zealots. We'll lose one in the process. For Mutalisk in the production tab, we'll take care of that Prism, but nice! Getting the army all the way towards the main and now pushing through the middle with a couple of Archons, 3 Sentries and a lot of Zealots. We'll dodge a couple of Biles, but we'll hit some Bailing connection.
He can force field this,
yes.
Actually. If he brought the Sentries forward, some of those are gonna be sniped by the Bile maybe. No, they dodged them at the last second. Ravager's looking to try and break the corrosive bite now.
He gets the hatchery.
Break the force fields.
A couple of units are getting lost in the top. I think he did take out a little bit of Ravagers and Roaches. Can he get a force field? A little bit too late here. And even the Archon just
this
crushing
has done a ton of damage anyway. Master, I think he's winning this somehow, as long as he doesn't take a really bad fight.
Okay,
he's gonna be alright. And even then, like, a lot of these corrosive bile are landing, but there's still so much left. Oh, look at the amount of Zealots. He might win this with just the Zealots.
Yeah, there's so many Zealots remaining and not that many Banelings. 4 will hatch at the moment I say it, but I think there's just too much. 3 Archons, 4 Immortals, and a lot of Zealots at the same time. Some more Baneling will try to do the impossible defense, but if we take a look at the army supply, 64 to 36, and once again, one more Warpin will go in, and Namshar is pushed back to his natural.
I will look at the supply if you ask me, Funka.
Look at it, Todd.
And I'm looking at it.
Oh, GG.
Namshar doesn't have enough. Master with a sick win here. That looked easy as well. The way he attacked, he sent the Prism into the main. I was thinking about this because personally, like, I always do this. I felt like if you attack with the entire army, then it's a very obvious defense for the opponent. All he has to do is have everything there and make sure he fights in that location with everything, and usually they will have a good chance at defending. But in this case, not only he brought the army of Namshar opposition in the main, a huge chunk of it, like way too much.
Yeah.
There also was 2 little Banelings, I think, from Namshar. I didn't expect that. Like, I was looking at this game and I thought, like, Namshar shouldn't be doing this bad if there were a fight that takes place, as long as you have enough Banelings, which he clearly did not have. There was... How many Banelings do you have? Like,
yeah,
like 10
he never had like more than 20 or something like that.
My God.
So okay, that's 100%, guys. Brazilian fans, where are you? Get on Twitter and get that hashtag going, because this is not looking good. 100% to 0, because I've not woken up yet.
There goes my prediction.
Yeah, you did say 4-0, and it's now tied 1-1. And yeah, we kinda maybe anticipated a little bit, but Master is just going into a really solid macro game.
It's good.
And,
I mean, that was really good actually. Like, kind of makes me wanna quit my job and go and play some ladder and use these builds.
Yeah, just use this build, send a Prism to the main, and be lucky enough that he throws his entire army to defend it, because that was the main mistake from Namshar on this one.
I really think like usually like most Zergs, they will have like 40 Banelings here, and then you come in. Charge Loss and Archons, they clump up pretty badly. Like, you can split them all you want, then Zerg can pull back as well and then re-engage. So just...
Maybe overproduced in Ravagers and should have produced maybe more Banelings. And yeah, dropping that position next to the Zalnaga towers and the creep, not defending this force, made it for a really great position for Master to attack in.
The 2 Archon drop kept Namshar low on walker counts pretty much the entire game. And I think Namshar probably didn't have that much information in terms of like saturation on the 3rd from Master, and he probably like mind game himself into thinking what I was thinking as well, which was Master was going to all in. He saw 2 Archons, he's like, alright, he's going to be immortal, probably a lot of units that he's going to throw at me. No, Master was like, I'm going to make 70 probes and then hit a timing with too much for you to handle. And if you prepare for an earlier defense, then you're not going to be ready for the later push, because you will not have prioritized the economy. So now Sweden, who do they send?
Mr. Mechanics or Anton? There's the 2 options, sort of, or Zenster.
Zenster is probably more likely, I would say. But
same here. Let's
sort
see.
of is pretty good against Protoss, I think.
Sort of.
All right, yeah.
Sort of will be the choice. So what we consider the ace of the Swedish team will come out right now to, quit that nonsense of master winning game. They didn't anticipate that, but he did play a really great game in the PVZ matchup, and he will have to do the same against sort of on the next game that will be played between Sweden and Brazil. But for now, 2 games means we will go for a 2-minute break, so guys, don't go anywhere. Hello everyone and welcome back to Brazil versus Sweden. I took out Todd from the casting desk because he was doing nothing but bad predictions, and now I've got Zombie Grub to replace him.
Nothing but bad predictions and looking at the supply.
Yeah. That was a bad prediction. But also he mentioned, like he just told me, I said 44 probes or he gets Shreked, and then he goes into 70 probes for base economy and Shrek's Namshar, and now we have to, sort of has to come out.
Yeah.
Top player from Sweden.
Yeah, we have to reevaluate Brazil here, I think, Like, we thought Eric maybe, because Kelzer seems so confident. Okay, ZBZ not so much. But then Master, a guy we don't know anything about, takes him out in such good fashion, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super in control during the entirety of the game. And did some cute moves, like pulled the army away with a prism. And now on Newkirk Precinct, I guess there's some similarities between the 2 maps, even though like the bases, and I guess obviously the 3rd base is way more exposed than on Daybreak. But if he goes for a similar strategy, I would not be as as surprised as I was in the last game, because he showed he could play some decent Starcraft. But against this guy, Mr. Mechanics in the bottom left for Sweden is the blue Zerg, sort of.
And in the bottom right, as the red Protoss, a surprise from Brazil, he is Master.
So when you think about your ID, shouldn't you call yourself like Grandmaster instead of Master?
Well, maybe, long time ago, little baby StarCraft 2 player Master was like, Masters is so good, guys. Like, I'm going to get there one day. And then he reaches it and he's like, oh, shit.
I should have anticipated that. Should have called myself Grandmaster or even Pro Gamer.
Yeah.
Or even Bonjour. Bonjour is a sick idea.
I mean, like, isn't it more like, no matter what you choose, it's always going to have to be better, right?
Yeah, of course.
You reach Bonjour status and you got to think of something better than that, too.
Yeah, but is there something better? I don't even know. I don't even know. I think this is like the best thing you could be called as a StarCraft Pro Gamer. But at the moment, not a single Bonjour actually, appeared on the StarCraft 2 scene.
Yeah, not in the same way that it happened in Brood War anyways. I know there's like a Reddit thread every 6 months or something like that, like, was there a Bonjour in StarCraft 2? And people will bring up MVP. I think he's a good case when you look at his results overall, but it's never quite the same. Bonjour's more of a feeling anyway,
Yeah, and I guess even in the Korean scene, like, people argue, like, you know how you say when you go like to a family reunion, you're not supposed to talk about politics? Well, I guess in Korea, you don't want to talk about Bonjour as a StarCraft player. Yes! Some cheeky tag action going, decal, graph, I don't know how they call it. I would say that it's a tag. So a little bit cheeky in the early game from Masters, but yeah, definitely with your family, you don't want to talk StarCraft if you're from Korea, because everybody has their favorite player, favorite race, obviously, and the Bonjour discussion, even now, like not even joking or anything, I think it, like, a lot of people still argue about this guy should have had the Bonjour status and everything, but since it's more like a feeling, as you said, a lot of people can still argue years after. So Twilight first could be once again the same strategy, but I still don't really like. The fact that he went for Zealot and Archons with the Archons made from Templars actually makes sense on a economy side of things, because the balance between minerals and gas will be slightly better, but also it hits a little bit later than the Archon drop with the DTs. You don't have that Dark Shrine technology. I'm not even sure that I really do like it still now, even though he won the last game.
Yeah, it is very interesting. You think, I suppose, like, wouldn't the Dark Shrine be better because you can continue using Dark Templars right after, like on 2 base, 3 base, 4 base, where, High Templars think you're going to wait a little bit for Storm usually. Well, when you really think about it, the Dark Templars aren't used beyond the first 4 most of the time. So I guess like Templar Archives or Dark Shrine, but I know there's a I think it was Tails had a Storm-based 2-base all-in that he used Templar Archives basically to make those Archons, and it was quite a surprising build. I kind of thought that was in reaction to the initial buff to the Hydras, which has been debuffed somewhat because it was such a scary thing. But I guess we're still waiting on that. We have a Robo and 3 more gateways coming down just for now.
Okay, so let's see if he goes for the Templar Archive once again, or goes for the DT base build. He could be building that Dark Shrine at the moment. We'll go for exactly the same. Templar Archive at the same location next to the natural wall. So Master definitely believes that works, and it did work in the last game, so don't get me wrong, that was a potent strategy, no problem whatsoever. But like, if he would go into Storms later on, I would like it even more, I would say. Forge will go down. This is exactly the same build, guys. Prism at the same time, Forge at the same time, Roach Warren from sort of, he will have to defend against those Archons, and I guess the main mistake from Namshar earlier was that he cut drone production super early and never had that proper economy to fuel that army.
Yeah, I think even though it's a different tech structure, the end result is Archons, obviously, and it's going to be a test on does the Zerg respond as accurately as possible. So, yeah, right, like you can have the units, but maybe you don't have a proper macro behind it too, and that is included in messing up against this build. So I think sort of might, of course, he watched that last game and saw that his teammate made X or Y mistake, and should probably not make the same mistake, but that's what the pro's going to look to do, is to make Zerg, force the Zerg to make some type of mistake.
So Master did drop down the third Nexus, but is cutting probe production quite a bit. Did start 1 Immortal. Is it just showing the exact same thing, but going into a two base timing with Immortals and no charge? That looks like it, because still not a single probe in the production tab. I like what Master is doing. You show the exact same thing, but you do a different transition.
Yeah, I like that a lot as well, and if his build has that type of adaptability, then that's really cool. So I guess Protoss players pay attention even to still a build and a style to play. So of course, he saved that Warp Prism. Going to the main base was kind of like, it was gonna, I don't know if it was really gonna do too much anyway, sort of was really on top of it with the Queens being brought back so soon. But sort of, you've got that scout in the main base, all the Immortal pop-outs. Maybe he's going to start paying attention to how many probes are at that third base as well. Still deal with the Warp Prism, but has enough units to do so.
Alright, getting a little bit of Zerglings out with those Archons. Good micro right now, not losing that many HP on the Prism. But does go a little bit to the probe production again. Yeah, 3 probes at the same time, more Templars, and charge has started with +1. Last game he did stop at +1, didn't go for +2, didn't go for shields as Todd wanted. I guess this Prism could get a little bit of stray overlords on the map. That's also really good to do. That's a Zergling actually. Those are all Zerglings. Yeah. The overlords are not reachable. Good job, sort of.
Yeah, sort of has some pretty decent map coverage. I think there's like Morlings even before he had to deal with the Warp Prism in his third base. So really trying to keep tabs on where the Warp Prism is and if the army moves out. Now, +1 in charge is finishing right now, and still has the Warp Prism alive. But production, actually, that's going to be well timed too. And he is pushing out right now. This Ling is going to see the Warp Prism moving across the map. Another Ling's going to see the actual army. There you go. Does sort of have the proper army to deal with this though.
Yeah, he does have a lot of Roaches, but no Ravagers now. He will actually start building 5 of them, couple of Banelings, but the centrifugal hooks are not ready, and charge just completed. Master does have a timing, and we'll see if he gets to at least destroy that 4th hatchery. That's a really exposed Archon that will die before even getting morphed. That's pretty bad for our friend Master right here. He will go for the attack, will throw down some force field, 1 to the north side, and he needs to drop down those units. 1 more Archon will join the fray, but there's a lot of units from a Swedish Zerg.
Yeah, the Banelings roll in. Actually, a chunk of them hits the Archons, but also a good chunk of the charge lots too. But another warping of charge lots come through here, and this 4th base might have to be sacrificed.
Yeah, I think he does need to sack it instead of taking a fight that will make it that he loses his entire army. Nice set of force fields and no pile to destroy those force fields at the moment, so losing some more units for free. And once again, that random timing from Master, Archon Zealot charge, dealing some damage, but not finishing the game yet.
Yeah, not quite getting that 4th base. I mean, if he had a couple more force fields, maybe he can stick around a little bit longer, because then he used the hatchery as like an additional force field, but he was running low, and it only depend on charge lots. We don't know if they have 20 Banelings morphing a little bit behind the army. It's a little bit dangerous. I think this is a safer move, but I still like Master's position. He's getting a 2nd Robo, sort of is still on. Baneling, Ling, Ravager.
You speak too soon, because if he does lose all those probes, that's not gonna look good for a Brazilian player. 8 probes go down. It could have been worse.
Yeah, it could have been, yeah. And we do have +2 on the way for Melee, but that's still a ways off, so they're not going to be one-shotting soon. Nova was going to continue pumping out Immortals, and I mean, sort of, yeah, he can just build as many Banelings as possible and really hope for some good connections.
Run back to the natural. Run back to the natural. Those are Zerglings, and the wall was wide open, so gonna lose a little bit more economy here. 5 probes will go down, making it 60 for Master, so I guess not that bad yet, but he does need a 4th base. Those are 3 gateways that haven't been turned into warp gates.
I feel like that's been the case for a while.
Yeah.
He's actually not banking a ton of money, so I guess he's he hasn't noticed he's actually needed them yet.
And those cheeky Banelings in the main. Whoa, they did morph.
Oh boy.
Okay, he doesn't have +2, so if he only sends 1, this is not gonna destroy that much. Because +2 is not finished, those other Banelings are not moving, and this attack is not going down. He will go for it. Those Banelings connected super well with those Zealots. You can see that he tries to put them back at the opposite side of his army. Now the Archons and Immortals will tank, but there is no Zealots remaining.
That was kind of sloppy. I mean, I don't think he anticipated sort of being ready like that, so he really didn't have any of the great force fields, and the Archons were in front of the charge-outs initially, and just everything gets destroyed right there. Sort of has a huge bank, too. You go ahead and, I guess, oh, well, Master's gonna tap out
GG.
anyway, never mind.
Yeah,
GG.
GG. Maybe this game could have gone a little bit longer for a bit, but Master believing that losing all those high-tech units in those Immortals and Archons was just a little bit too much. He didn't have a 4th base building at the moment, was still losing some economy.
Yeah, maybe if he had a 4th base, like even he started, maybe he consider something different. But yeah, it was true, like losing an entire army like that with no follow-up pressure because he also lost the Warp Prism, so no time buying. I guess he figured he would have just lost. Oh, now we have some. Whoa, wait.
The
wasn't
Brazilians
that 0 to
actually away.
100?
Yeah,
Yeah, Brazil finally woke up.
65% now instead of 100% for Sweden. But Sweden takes the lead again with the 2-1 with our friend Master going down, and that ZVP. It was a pretty decent map once again from Master, but you know the upper level of sort of was just a little bit too much, I guess, for Master. SC2 full tight to kick some Brazilian ass. Go Sweden. I don't understand the turtle.
I thought maybe that was like a European thing, and I'm just like not in it. But all right,
I just don't understand it.
Hashtag Brazil win here. I fixed it for Nation Wars 4. Like fixing things.
Did he retweet like 25 times his own tweet? Or I don't know how he did it, but it did work.
It worked.
100%. It worked. 65% against 35%. Kaiser will have to come out.
Yeah.
And he will have to take down sort of.
I don't know why we're counting down to the known player.
It's okay.
There we go.
It's okay. Production had a rough night.
Apparently.
They're still waking up at the moment. Yes, it will be Kelazur. That's the only player remaining in the Brazilian team, which also means we get... Yes, we will know in 1 second. Yeah, it's still Kelazur. We're getting trolled. We're getting trolled.
Yeah.
I can tell. I know those guys. I know you're trolling me. And I see you switching cameras right now. I'm not going to speak.
I gotcha.
I expected it to go to the right side. Can we do a left now? Oh, no, that's you. You're on the left.
Me.
Yeah. Nice. All right. And that's a ZVT. And that's the moments where are needed on the broadcast, because we are the Terran experts.
We are the Terrans.
Experts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Experts.
Experts and super biased, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Terran's the best race.
Of course.
It's true.
Of course. It is. And anybody that thinks differently, I don't know.
Is a Protoss or Zerg, probably.
That's a good call.
And as such, filthy.
Yeah, of course.
Boo.
What the hell?
I'm actually not that biased, but I guess that's what we do at Nation Wars. Just a lot of bias flowing around everywhere. And since we're not cheering for any country in particular, because neither of us are from Sweden or from Brazil, then we just got to be biased towards the race. That makes a lot of sense.
But our camera operator is actually from Brazil.
Ah.
And he's enjoying it so far, because you guys got a game. And now you might get a second one if Kelazur is able to beat our good friend sort of. Actually, Le Cosby is the camera operator I was talking about. Even if Brazil beats Sweden, we still have Korea to face, so At least we are gods in CSGO. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. You will never get hired to do a StarCraft 2 event ever again. Never.
Well, maybe you'll get hired to do a CSGO event.
Yeah, yeah. And that way, we will not have that guy that will knock the camera like he did 10 minutes ago. Shee. So we're waiting for that fourth game to start, and yeah, we could be seeing that 2-2 situation because Kelazur definitely has the potential to beat any of those players from the Swedish lineup.
Yeah, actually, it'll be on Echo, by the way. But last time the Kelazur and sort of played, at least of course, in online tournaments. I don't know what their ladder is like, if they even do ladder, of course, being from two different regions. But Kelazur actually won. Now this is about 2 months ago, but I still think that Kelazur has some pretty good TVZ. Sort of actually has some good ZVT too. But maybe Kelazur could feel actually a bit of a confidence boost from knowing that he's already beaten sort of twice.
He did. That's something he did in the past, and he can do it again. It will be taking place on Echo. Pretty decent map, I guess, for those standard 2-2-1 timing. Lots of Marines, lots of tanks. I don't expect any mech play from Kelazur. That's not a strong suit, right?
No. Oh, did he ever try mech? I mean, maybe back when you had to try mech, like in TVT. Maybe he did something, but I can't remember a game where he's ever done TVZ mech.
Yeah, me neither. So yeah, I guess just a standard map for a standard macro player in Kelazur. Sort of as a lot of different strategy, different composition that he could try for. And Echo is a map that will get some different feelings from Zerg player. I believe like Sue believes that it's a map that he would never be able to play Muling Bane on, even though some other players will. And you can also obviously play the Roach Ravager style with Infestors that are kind of cute. So I'm guessing we're still waiting from that guy to make a decision in terms of composition. In the bottom right, for Sweden, it is sort of.
And in the top left, for Brazil, it's the Red Terran, Kelazur.
We did go for a barracks on the low ground, and soon there will be another barracks, and there should be a third barracks at some point.
Yes.
He also gets the proper position to do this kind of style on, because he will not have his add-ons on the wrong side of the wall.
Yeah, that's always nice.
It is.
That's
It is.
one downside of being Terran is the map can actually really bite you in the
Screw
bits.
you over.
Sometimes. But yeah, Echo is a fairly popular 3 Rax Reaper map, and sort of, I mean, it's Kelazur, it's Echo, it's Terran. I mean, all those things really would usually add up to being paranoid about the 3 Rax Reaper, but I don't know, maybe he thought, like, because, you know, they're from different servers, he wouldn't actually try it, or I don't know, but sort of didn't go for a pull first. He did get that hatchery, so I mean, you can still defend it, obviously. It's not like, you know, oh my god, he's absolutely going to lose here, but usually you really do want that pull first.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult hold, to be honest. Like, not scouting with the drone, this is not meta at all anyways, so we're not seeing this anymore, those drone scouts, but the overlord would take a long time to see this, and with that pull first, now he anticipates it because he drops down the Roach Warren without even scouting those three racks, as he does see the Reaper, but I don't think the timing tells him that much. Now he knows it's actually 3 Racks Reaper. He could have also cancelled that Roach Warren if he didn't need it, but took the precautions because I guess Kelazur's reputation precedes him quite a bit, and we know he loves those Reapers.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you can buy time for the Queens to pop out, because they're not readily available right from the get-go, then it's it's okay. But already losing his initial lings, almost there we go. We'll probably get this. Oh, whoa. Misfire on the Queen there, but still, that wasn't a bad start, and it's more about the potential ramp up than anything else. So sort of has his Roach Warren done, and the Roaches are on the way out, but even they aren't the assured like full stop for the Reapers. They can still get in there and deal some damage.
Alright, Reapers will come in again. One in the orange HP will have to go back. The second one actually going a little bit too far. We'll lose a Reaper in the process, and those Roaches have been hidden for quite a bit now. Those 4 first will pop up from the natural, so you will see those, and usually Terran players will try to transition instantly when they see Roaches and soon to be Ravagers. So we should be seeing a Tech Lab and probably some reactors when those 3 Reapers finish.
Yeah.
What does he decide to do? Building
build
another
more
Reaper.
Reapers.
Yeah.
That's clearly the way to go. I would say that Kelazur is one of those Terrans that is more inclined to just build more Reapers no matter what. Even if there's like 30 Speedlings that have almost got us around on his Reapers more than once, he's still going to add on more Reapers. But it is a bit of a risky maneuver. In fact, just Roaches get a snipe right there, which isn't really supposed to happen. You're supposed to at least have to force them to make a couple of Ravagers for them to feel truly safe. But sort of, okay, there are the Ravagers there. But sort of is dealing with this pretty fine, and he feels very confident. He's back to droning already.
Yeah, the only thing that lacks, I would say, in sort of position is that he doesn't have that third hatchery yet. He didn't try to sneak a drone out when the Reapers came into the main or anything. So he does have still that that issue that he only has 2 hatcheries to mine from and to build lava from. Now sort of knows about the transition. He sees that there is a marine available, and those tech labs and the reactor will soon follow. Factory on the production tab too. So after a third CC, to be honest. So Kelazur will, drop the aggression down a notch and get a little bit more economy going.
A situation that I think sort of is okay with. Obviously, he anticipated the 3 racks. He's got that Roach Horn at that time that he did. And I think that sort of is absolutely fine with going for Roaches and Ravagers, whereas maybe some other Zergs really would have preferred going for Needling Bling. I don't know if sort of really that guy. So, yeah, it's a slower start. As you said, still doesn't even have that third base. Finally taking it right now. But it's one that at least he didn't die from the Reapers is kind of what a lot of Zerg players have to think. And that, yes, Kelazur also has like a really decent macro follow-up. The game, it basically continues, right? No one took game-ending damage.
Yeah, not at all. I do like Kelazur's position, to be honest, because that third CC is not under any threat. The Stim will soon finish. Well, I guess soon. It's 50% produced at the moment, and as you know, Stim takes quite a long time to finish, so quite a long time to wait. But yeah, no pressure. Sort of hasn't been able to cross the map, obviously, because the threat of the Reaper is still here. But I always love when Terran players, and obviously noticing that there's not going to be a counterattack right away with a lot of Zerglings or something like this. He can greed quite a bit, and those double eBay and triple CC will make it for a really, really cool game, really cool macro game from Kelazur.
Yeah. We'll see if sort of goes into melee upgrade. He is getting a Baneling Nest and getting that speed. We saw Nerchio yesterday go for a similar style, not because he had to deal with 3x Reaper first, because it's the style he wanted to play on Daybreak, and that was the super long game versus Major, if you guys remember. I don't expect that game to happen again for a while in any amount of tournaments, but the point is, this is actually going to give you all those upgrades for when you eventually reach that Hive and an Ultralisk Cavern. But first, you got to deal, of course, with Kelazur's timing push here. He's got Stim done. He's got his Medivacs on the way. And he doesn't actually have that many units. His Roaches and Ravagers, especially the Ravagers, can actually be sniped, and that'd be totally worthwhile for Kelazur.
Yeah, he's taking some risk right here, going out of the creep with those Roaches and Ravagers that are super slow at the moment, no upgrades for them. And those Marines and Reapers can actually get those Baneling eggs before they hatch, and now the Steam gets revealed. That first attack will be super tough for Starcraft to defend. It needs to connect with the Bile, but at the moment the dodging skills from Kelazur are really, really sick, and now some drones will start to fall. Those Banelings will never hatch, and there's still 2 Medivacs to come out from, and even he doesn't give a damn. He will take the fight, start targeting Ravagers and Banelings one after the other, and this is already some critical damage being dealt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Grenades help so much. He should pick up now. There he goes. Finally picks up one almost full Medivac there. Almost loses it too, but 11 drones died. Had to be pulled off the third base, and most of sort of's army died too. So he does. I mean, if you're gonna go Roach Ravager, you want to at least have some of those Ravagers, even if you did get Speedlings and Banelings. So he's actually trying to replace those. So that was some good damage.
Yeah, that was some good damage, but it did cut SCV production for quite a bit. I believe like 50 is not that much, considering he had that third CC super early. Probably just waited a little bit to land that third CC towards that third base while not producing SCVs. But yeah, now he's going for it. He will have 56 in a moment. Transition into tanks. Some Liberators to destroy that cooling tower, I believe is called on this map, to get a little bit of defense going for his third base. So still a pretty good position, but also missed the timing on his upgrades too, to be honest. He had those eBays for quite a long time, and those +1 upgrades are not even done yet.
Yeah, and he accidentally started armor first, which usually, if you're going to have to pick and choose, is going to be those weapons. But 2 medevacs going into the natural base. We have Sword doing something kind of interesting here. He did add on Ravagers and Roaches again after losing them, but really, he's going for Ling, Baneling, Mutalisk, apparently, unless those are actually going to be Corruptors coming out. But the point is, Aspire is going to be in play, and Kelazar might not expect that. He might be expecting an Infestation Pit in a long game. Whoopsie.
Okay, that Baneling connecting did hurt a little bit, but also Kelazar did get that for hatchery to cancel, and now that's a really exposed queen that will go down in a few seconds, and at the same time, double Liberator going from the left and right at the same time attacking this, and I could have got that egg building a Mutalisk, but not gonna be too difficult on this one. He couldn't know that was just not a simple Zergling. Now we'll give that Liberator away, but not before taking a little bit of damage. 2 drones and a queen. Had to use a transfuse. Game will slow down a little bit, but still really down in terms of upgrades. Like the 2-2 is super slow from Terran.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. Once again, a little bit later on that attack upgrade than he had to be, but this is some good aggression. He's really keeping tabs on sort of as well, so I think he will see the mutas, but maybe he'll lose a couple of medevacs for it. At least he can get some missile turrets up. Unless, yeah, okay, there he goes. He sees it now. Not too many yet. Sort of did not have a lot of gas, I think, to put into that. Well, he's also building a lot of Banelings, and Kelazar's actually going to push out here. I mean, he's not going to be hitting with 2-2 anytime soon, and he does still need to get his missile turrets up in case those mutas counterattack, but he feels confident.
And he should be, I believe. Like, if he does take a good position with those 3 tanks, he has the opportunity to deal a tremendous amount of damage. There's not that many Mutalisk, as you said, to go for the counterattack or even getting those reinforcements before they join the main army. At the moment, Kelazar taking a little bit of time, will steam a couple of units on the front and will go nice splits, nice free split. Sort of is like, I'm never going to attack here with those 3 tanks shelling away at my units. And for now, 2-2 is not finished from Zerg, so it could be a really great timing for Kelazar to go, but still getting some decent shots. Got a Muta there and a couple of Banelings and still pressuring that 4th.
Yeah. This is a pretty good position. Sort of might have to start thinking about other ways to break this, including potential surrounds, getting a different position here. He's starting to split up his units a little bit. Now, of course, the tanks aren't shelling away at the hatchery quite yet, so he had time to think and actually get this surround, or try to.
Okay, that right side attack didn't look so well. He also lost a lot of Mutalisk. I don't know if there's any Banelings remaining for that huge amount of Marines, but all those tanks will fall down. But that army retreating will take some losses, some critical losses. It needs those Banelings. They only started hatching, and those Marines, they will not stop. They will go on and on and on and get those Mutalisks. This is a scary position. Those Banelings are about to hatch, but he will go just before, and Kelazar getting a great advantage for himself, taking down that 4th hatchery, and still with a really, really sizable amount of Marines.
Yeah, I think he might have just won the game. Sort of course, using all of his Banelings in an attack meant that he couldn't defend. Should sort of Kelazar actually push on to creep. He's buying maybe enough time for Banelings now, but we got Liberators taking out a couple. He will be forced to lift up and leave, but that was really, really good damage. Kelazar taking out a 4th base and getting sort of down 30 army supply, and Kelazar's upgrade's finally finished.
Yeah, so finally equilibrium has been reached between those 2 players in terms of upgrades. 2-2 with Marines against Mutalisk. This is not looking well at all for sort of in Sweden, and it looks like Brazil will tie up this series. Kelazar, the heavy hitter, the ace player for Brazil, will take his win and will try his luck against the last remaining Swedish player in Zenster.
Yeah. I think Kelazar can absolutely take out Zanster, especially after a good TVZ showing like this. The game's still not quite over, as Echo's a kind of a large map, and he's having trouble actually getting enough Marines here as the Lings pop out, but I think sort of is taking way too much damage. Unless he had like 20 Mutalisk to suddenly counterattack and really keep his pressure back on to Kelazar, he's just going to lose the game being defensive.
Yeah, for sure. There's no creep connecting the natural and the 3rd. He actually tries to go for it. That queen had dreams, but that queen also died. And now 2-2 Marines with medivacs with a couple of, energy remaining will get the hills going on those onto those Marines. Sorry. And those Mutalisks, he's trying to target him down. Some Zerglings will come in and help, but this is just not enough. GG. Kelazar ties it up.
Really nice TVZ from Kellezer. Of course, opening with the 3 racks can sometimes really set, people off. Actually, that sort of, wasn't too surprised, and he just, isn't too uncomfortable with the situation. But, no, there was actually some decent attacks, multi-pronged aggression, and then that 3-base follow-up with the tanks. This really ended up being the real kicker.
Yeah, it was a really great game from Kellezer. Just wondering if sort of going for that early Roach Ravager defense and then trying to transition into Mutiling Bane was maybe a little bit too hard to make it work.
Yeah.
Like this sequence should not be that hard to defend if you do have like that high amount of Roaches and Ravagers, because Marines without that many upgrades or even no Marauders will not do the job against Roaches.
Yeah. I really think that I think if he had to pinpoint a moment, resume from replay type deal, it would have been when it was the 16 Marines with all those Reapers coming in. He would have been like, okay, I should have had 10 more Lings, 5 more Banelings, 4 more Roaches, like something, right? Like to stop the snowball effect at the very least. Or Queens on the front lines too, sniping the medevac, something he was missing. Of course, you can never underestimate the amount of the power of Reapers, even with an army like that, since the grenade just cause everything to start flying. And sort of maybe he did underestimate that.
All right, Zenster versus Kellezer. Is that a matchup that we actually like better for Kellezer than just the one we just saw from sort of?
Yeah, actually, I think if it was Zanster first and Kellezer beats him, I would have been saying well, sort of actually might have the better ZVT here, and he might be able to take out Kellezer. But I don't know. At least we knew that Kellezer had taken out sort of before, so we had that much, I guess, going for him and his confidence. And I don't think he's really played Zanster that often. It's actually kind of hard to play Zanster. He doesn't play that many online tournaments.
Yeah, he's a little bit, hiding in the shadows and just, comes in and suddenly tells everybody, guys, I actually can play this game and I'm pretty good at it. He did get some win earlier in this group. Zenster, that is, was part of one of the couple of wins that Sweden got for themselves. It's gonna be on Vanny, a map that I feel like is really good for that kind of strategy that Kellezer went for. I think rally pushes are really strong on this map. Obviously, kind of tough to creep out of that third base location and then getting that fourth base secured. You need to have Scarlet's quality of creep spread to be feeling comfortable on this map.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Kellezer, the one thing about Vanny is just that it's kind of a long map still, but I think that's the opportunity that Kellezer will have in terms of dropping, of course, from the far right to the far left before Zanster can get a solid enough stack defense. Or Mutalisk is just one thing that actually any race has to be scared of on that map in particular. It looks so safe in that natural, and then suddenly air units come into play, and you're like,
25 Mutalisk with +1 will shrek your economy in just a second, and even your commencer if you're not paying attention. Once again, we will go into a quick commercial break after those 4 games, and when we come back, this is Zenster versus Kellezer on Vanny Research Station. Guys, don't go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Starcraft 2 Nation War Season 4, brought to you by O Gaming and Blizzard Entertainment, where we are in the middle of Sweden against Brazil. And Brazil's having a surprisingly good and strong showing so far.
Yeah, I did not expect Master to take a game. I'm not sure that anyone did, maybe aside from Master himself. Yeah. And then, of course, Kellezer, as long as his TVZ was looking good today, then obviously he was going to do well against a Zerg-only team, Sweden.
Yeah, no, I'm actually very impressed. Even just the game that Master lost, even that one he looked good. And I really felt there were multiple moments where this is getting close. And even that final fight right before he left. Now, normally, right before you leave, things have gone very bad. But I actually think if that Warp Prison would have been a little bit further to the back and he wipes in a couple of zealots, maybe that could have been a closer fight. And then that game will still go on as well. So really fun to see the Brazilian players showing up the way they've done. And quite a bit of pressure right now on the shoulders of Anton. Good old Zenster, who's going to go up against Kellezer, somebody that has done very well against European Zergs in the past, even at tournaments like Home Story Cup. Kellezer is one of these guys that can literally tell you in the beginning of the game, hey, I'm going to go 3 Rex Reaper. What you going to do about it? Now, Vanny is maybe not the best map ever for it, even though there is a lot of surface area to hop into the main and to the low ground again. But Kellezer is just so good with his Reapers, and he has done it so many times that he has excellent understanding of when to transition, how to transition, and what the next timing is that he's going to hit.
Yeah, absolutely. Kellezer can definitely do a good old 3 racks, but I'm not sure about this map. Of course, his new opponent in the top position for Sweden, it is the Blue Zerg, Zanster.
The legend, the myth, the walking meme. Over here on the south side of the map, we're looking at the main base of a Brazilian Terran player. He's had a pretty successful 2016 and wants to carry that over into 2017. He's got a big tournament next week. It is Calazur.
That's right, WESG. That's what it is. Getting all the acronyms correct. It's gonna be hard this past couple of months. WCG, WESG, WCS.
Yes.
WWW. But we will have more than one Rex on Avani. You brought up that technically the map, rather the base, actually does play well to Reapers. That's why we see sometimes Proxy Reaper versus Protoss, or Proxy Reapers versus Terran and TVT, oh dear lord. But usually versus Zerg, it's not about necessarily the amount of surface area you have in the bases, because actually the current map pool sometimes actually doesn't even play to that. It's usually about the distances, like how fast you can get your 3x Reaper over there. So I'm a little bit surprised, and Xanser might be too.
Yep, and at the same time, this is also one of these maps where you can sit kind of comfortably on two bases, right? Because you can only hop into the main base. You can't hop into the natural. I mean, Reapers can jump, but they can't jump that far, which is probably a good thing. They would be able to jump from the gold towards the natural. I'm not sure if I still want to play this game. Like that would be very broken. But obviously, like what I'm expecting from Xanser is just to set himself up well, put the queens in a solid position, make a couple of units. I felt that sort of handled it quite decently on Echo. Yes, the third base was late, but at the same time he did create a worker advantage for himself relatively early. And I think he was able to pick off 3 Reapers in total before ever even losing drones or whatsoever. So it really didn't feel like a poor defense at all.
It wasn't. I think it was definitely the follow-up that really killed, sort of. He was just slightly underprepared, and Kelliser took advantage of it. As long as he keep your Reapers alive, they're a great addition to a main army. So the first Reaper comes in here. I think the Overlords have only just now scouted. Maybe not even. That's the second Rax is here. Maybe they saw a Reaper already pop out, but that's some pretty late knowledge about a 3-Rax on a map you don't expect it on.
Yep, I'm wondering what Xanser is going to do against it. For now, it's just going to be additional Zerglings, probably just a lot of Lings, a lot of Queens. Would have been great for Xanser if he was able to get that hatchery down very quickly, because then eventually maybe he could have gone for a wraparound on the Reapers, try to get cheeky. But that's not going to happen. It's going to be a little bit harder for him to get that hatchery down, especially as long as Calazur is just sharking around here and trying to pick off every single drone that wants to go down. And I'm not sure what happened, but no Reaper died. Right, Kevin?
Yeah, what is happening?
Somebody's
well,
falling asleep on the switch. He's like, blub, blub, blub.
Alright. Well, that is actually pretty bad to lose a first Reaper. It really stops the snowball effect, especially against Speedlings, which of course what Xanser was doing and had to, was forced to utilize. They actually aren't that bad if they can start killing the Reapers, which they are. This is pretty good by Xanser.
Absolutely, getting 3 Reapers this early in the game with just Zerglings. During all of this, was able to sneak a drone towards the low ground as well, so he was able to drop that hatchery. Now, the only downside of making this many Lings is if you look at the work count, he's still only at 20 drones. Now, obviously, if he can get this hatchery up without too many issues, it's not that bad. But he's going to be forced to make quite a few more Lings as he just lost all of his Zerglings.
Yeah, and it really is about snowballing in the reverse manner, like getting not just the first couple Reapers dead, but then chasing down the reinforcements. Since he was unable to do that latter part, 4 Reapers once again are giving him a lot of trouble.
This is going to be risky, but he's going to be able to get the surround for now. One more Reaper will fall. One additional Reaper showed up, but the Lings are getting a lot of surface area, and pretty much all of the Reapers I think are going to go down at this point. Well, maybe one. Actually, he's going to give both alive. Oh my god, well done.
That was really nice in the last second there. And 3 Reapers, well, not enough to kill the hatchery, especially with it being so healthy now. Maybe they could have gotten that creep tumor. Oh, okay, well. 40 Lings for 6 Reapers. Let's hope that Calazur is pretty okay with that. And as long as he doesn't see that there's a follow-up Bailing, bust happening, and he has any amount of Reapers whatsoever, then he'll safely get to his extra 2 command centers.
Yeah, and it's very unlikely that we're going to see any sort of Bailing Wells anytime soon for Xanser, as he's just been putting pretty much all of his larvae into making these Lings. At least that hatchery has finished up. If Calazur had his eyes open, maybe he would have been able to know where the creep tumor was planted down exactly. Every now and then you see them just throw down grenades, even when it finishes up. But that's not going to be the case for now. Obviously, he has to be careful. That's a decent amount of Lings, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough. There's a lot of grenades available here, and Xanser has been bleeding out a lot of Lings over the last few minutes.
Yeah, if he loses these Lings, and that was a really nice grenade right there, then that'll just be like so good for Calazur, who, by the way, is like obviously just continued making Reapers. He saw that his opponent was just defending with Lings, and unless they really get that surround and follow suit to take care of reinforcements, yeah, won't do so well against multiple Reapers. It's really nice for Calazur. I don't know how many he's made this game, but it's got to be over 10, right?
The amount of Reapers?
7 plus 9, yeah 16, there you go.
And a crazy amount of Lings already being produced, like 86 at this point, over 50 Lings already falling in this game. that's like, I feel in general, whenever you want to make links against this build, you got to be damn sure that once you go for the engagement that you're going to be able to clean up all of them. Just getting 1 or 2, and I must say I really thought in the natural, the back of that third base, I thought he was going to be able to get them all, but then some excellent micro by Kalazuri was actually able to save 2 very low HP Reapers with 1 more showing up, and in the end I think that Kalazuri is very happy with how this game started out. Look at the worker count, he's up by 10 workers, CC number 3 has finished up. I'm not sure if it's already in Orbiter or not, but yeah, wow.
Yeah, churning out the 3 ICs at a time is quite scary for Xancer. He's only just really gotten into the swing of things, the swing of droning. He's going to go for a lair right now. No upgrades so far by him, so he's going to fall way behind compared to Kelazur.
That's a lot of Zerglings though. Surprise attack is going to be able to get the surround on a couple of these Reapers, but a lot of grenades being thrown on as well. But a lot of the Reapers just instantly die to the grenade damage as well. And that's obviously a massive pickoff for Xancer. That's really what he needed as well.
That's really nice. Finally, utilizing those lings like they wanted to. Usually this loss still even though, just a little, I guess, disappointing for Xancer. But, you know, he didn't just take care of the Reaper presence on the map, he also took care of the additional 9 Reapers that are going to be with the follow-up army that gave sort of such trouble.
Yep, those grenades can be so incredibly frustrating for the Queens as well, because they want to be able to do a little bit of damage on these medevacs, and every single time they just get bounced back. So Baneling that's being morphed in now, Spire being morphed in, a few more drones being added on. This one little Ling is actually doing God's work right there, delaying that CC from landing.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 10-15 seconds, this kind of stuff does really add up.
Yeah. I do think I like the faster Spire over trying to catch up on upgrades. I think you already know you're going to be a little bit late. You know the Terran's probably gone for 3 CC double engineering bay after dealing so much damage with the Reapers. I think Mutas have always given you more potential for a comeback than any like smart Ling surround or Ling run by. But Liberators were a severe problem with that idea. But you know, they got nerfed recently. Like not as good versus Mutas, and Mutas on Vani can be such a headache to go left and right against.
Yep, and it goes the other way around as well, right? If medevacs just start idling behind your natural, they will just drop down every single time, drop a couple of Marines, and it's incredibly frustrating to deal with if you have just Lings and Banes, especially because there are no Spore Crawlers whatsoever. So I kind of like the fast Spire as well, but it is important that either he's going to get a great fight soon or indeed drop those evolution tamers in the near future, as we can see them going down right now. Because starting 1-1 when your opponent's 2-2 is soon going to be like halfway done or something, that's going to be quite rough for a Zerg playing this style too.
Yeah, if Kelazur, does he have an armory? Yeah, he has an armory. So, I mean, if he started his 2-2 immediately, he would have been quite far ahead. With Xancer's 1-1 still not even started. There he starts it now. Combat Shield is finishing up. Well, Xancer's got some like decent creep spread, and he's got attempts to bring back some of the army by Kelazur. The Kelazur up almost 20 army supply as long as there's any bad fights against Banelings. Okay, smart pickup.
Could have tried to pull Beyond over there and just stand still, snipe all those slow Banes, but it's a little bit risky. Especially with that many Lings in the mix as well.
Very old school tactic on Vani to try and wall this off. Very awkward looking wall off though. It works, I guess. There's a couple of reinforcements to take care of the Lings. It's a smart idea by Xancer, but Kelazur has now paired up both armies that are on the map here, looking for, I guess, what could have been a really sneaky gold base, making sure that's not being taken.
I mean, I'm kind of feeling that this is one of these games where soon Kelazur's army is suddenly starting to look massive, and I must say I love how he handled the later engagements against sort of as well around that fort, right? That big skirmish around the fort they had on Echo. Very smart pre-positioning of the army, and only going forward just a couple of Marines. He's going to try to pick up one of these Queens, and he's going to try to go for this fort hatchery as well. There's a lot of Lings and Banes, so I don't think he's going to be able to get it right now. But eventually the next push is going to be harder and harder to deal with for Xancer, because multiple mines will be added as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think waiting for those 2 creep streamers you just sniped to recede too would have been a much easier attempt at the 4th base, and it's actually been receded already. It's very quick now in Legacy of the Void, but Mutas are out, and that could be the potential counter-harassment, picking off medevacs, what have you, that Xancer absolutely needs.
Look at the timing of the turrets as well. By the very first time these Mutas make their way across the map, these turrets are pretty much going to finish up. Extremely well done by Kelazur, who's really on the money so far, and with these 2-2 upgrades finishing up, I'm really expecting him to apply some serious pressure.
Yeah, these Mutas won't be able to do very much at all. It's very smart, I think, on this map in particular to just go ahead and just over-defend that natural base, especially if you think they're a little bit desperate. It might just try going for like all-out Mutas.
This is getting a little bit awkward as well, with a lot of Bioforces already way ahead of that Ling Bane squad. I wonder what Xancer is going to try to do with it, if he's going to go for a sandwich attack or if he's going to use it as a counter, but these 2 medevacs in the back of his natural are going to cause quite a few troubles, and obviously this will allow Kelazur to start working on this fort base of Xancer as well.
Oh, there's even a Widow Mine in that drop right there. No Spore Crawler to help out against the medevacs or detect that Widow Mine. This is doing a lot of damage. He's attacking at the 4th base at the exact same time. A good handful of Banelings, but if they don't split with these Widow Mines here, it'll be bad news for Xanser. He's just going to give him his 4th.
Yeah, Terran players got so much better as well in burrowing and unburrowing the mines. I don't know if you saw the clip of innovation today, but that was so well done. And this 4th base is just going to fall, and that's obviously very, very bad news for the Zerg. This is a pretty decent counter, but once again, a couple of Widow Mines left behind, actually dealing a lot of friendly fire. So this is a pretty decent counter, but I still feel that Xanser needed to do way more after losing his 4th.
Yeah, didn't really kill that many SCVs and did not cancel that 4th base. It did force Kelzer to pull back, but he'd already killed the 4th, so I think that's perfectly fine.
Left the mines behind as well. Could get tricky. I mean, what does Xanser truly have going for himself? He's behind in upgrades, he's behind in bases in the near future. He does have a decent amount of Mutalisks right now, so that's pretty much the only thing, right? He really needs to start finding an opening with these 16 Mutalisks. Are there Widow Mines left behind there at the gold, or what was it? It was just a Marine.
Yeah. Xanser gonna try and take that 4th base. I think Elazar is gonna be looking for that too, and he's already checked it and he saw that the Mutas took it out.
Kalazur once again putting on a little clinic of how he likes to play his TVZs, and he's being very successful with it. And the Americas are just going strong. We already had Canada, USA and Mexico qualify for the quarterfinals. Now Brazil is still a very long way off, but this is another strong showing, this time by a South American country, as I think that Xanser is in a world of trouble. He did start +2 melee, but look at the amount of turrets here, like you said, just over-defend on a map like Vani, and these Mutas, they'll do nothing.
Yeah, looks like he over-defended his natural and didn't defend his main at all, which is a little bit funny, but still having to go through all this production. Eventually, Marines will pop out, and those Mutas were already very weak from taking on almost 4 missile turrets right from the get-go. They do end up escaping. That's a little bit of good news for Xanser, who absolutely needs them, but now they're out of position to help with this engagement.
And this is going to be off-creep as well. Look at that one Widow Mine getting a massive hit there, killing 11 Zerglings in the process. Still so many additional mines. All the Banes will explode. And that's going to be it. All she wrote. Kalazur takes the lead for Brazil. And Sweden is actually having a lot of issues over here, way more than all of us predicted.
Yeah, when I thought about it more after giving my prediction, I was like, you know what, if Kelzer just has one good TVZ day, maybe he can win, but you can predict that. But obviously he's having a good TVZ day, like defeating Sordo, defeating Xanser in such good fashion too. A little help with the 3x Reaper, but his control obviously really warrants his use of the build.
Yeah, this was one of these moments where I actually thought that these Reapers were all going to fall, because I thought, he's going to get this surround, then one more Reaper shows up, and he actually just loses one more, I believe, but he keeps the other 3 alive, which is very impressive. I lost 2. Keeping this one alive was still very nice, though.
Yeah. This is the cool little micro we saw, barely keeping that one alive. And it really was like the start of this game was not great for Xanser. You got a very late scout, I would say, on the 3x Reaper. Probably didn't expect it and was forced to only use Lings, which some people, they decide to do, but can be tricky to use, obviously.
This is pretty funny as well, as the grenade did so much friendly fire. But I think in general, if you ask Kalazur, what do you enjoy facing the most? He'll say a Zerg that tries to defend my Reapers with Lynx. Because he has done it so many times, like up to this point, where he really has great understanding. There are certain players in the world that have just done certain builds so many times that they understand it better than almost anybody. Yeah. And Kalazur will exactly know what he's looking for, what he needs to achieve. And most of the time, he will get that return of investment. I think worst case scenario, in a lot of scenarios, it's even. Like, I don't really see Kalazur open up with this build and just be straight up dead. Like, oh my god, that was a disaster, you know? Like, maybe in other matchups, but in TVZ, he's just been so solid. So, who do you think is going to be the ace for Sweden? Sort of?
I think sort of had... Well, I guess we can't say that. Sort of.
Or maybe Nemcha. Maybe Nemcha is like, if you guys struggle with Reapers, then I'll show you how it's done.
Yeah. Maybe. I would say sort of, though. I think he had a good game. All right. Okay. I think he is like the ace of the team, and everyone's recognized that. But at this point, he's actually lost to sort of in every online or broadcast match, I suppose we can say, in the past like 2 months. Now, again, like that doesn't include maybe like a couple of ladder games, or he's on like super small tournament that they played. But no, like Kelazur's got to be feeling pretty good. You're facing the exact same race every single time. You're on fire. Like, I think this is going to go well for Kelzer.
The map is going to be played on Habitation Station, and that's obviously always an interesting one because it's just a little bit different. We've seen a lot of unique stuff on it. I don't see this as a great Reaper map because there's only a single entrance into the natural, and that's actually on a ramp as well. So you can't just have vision there. It's not Overgrowth, or I mean, Overgrowth is not a great Reaper map either, but any map where there is no ramp into the natural always makes it a little bit easier. So I don't think we'll see 3-Rex Reaper again, but I mean, what do I know? Maybe Kalazur just, every map is a 3 Rex Reaper map because worst comes to worst, I'll keep him on 2 bases for a little while longer and I throw their timings off. And that's also something that is very important to remember, is that if Calazur does this every single time, he always puts the Zergs in a slightly uncomfortable spot. They don't have the opening they normally have. It's going to be Calazur's game, and a lot of people don't like that.
Yeah, actually, that's why everyone has such trouble with the 3 Rex Reaper, is that there's just almost no downside to it unless you absolutely get all your Reapers killed and then counterattacked. Then it doesn't look so good. But that's very rare. Happy Sensation would be the one map I would just say no, don't do it, for multiple reasons about the map, but also that sort of already showed that he could defend against it very well. It was the follow-up that tricked him up, and I don't think that's going to happen twice in a row.
This is also, of course, a good map because, from the bottom of your ramp in the natural towards your opponents, that's very, very short rush distance, right?
Yeah.
So that makes certain pushes that just arrive a little bit faster incredibly difficult to deal with, and taking the gold, I think, is always very risky on a map like this because tanks can just siege on the low ground with the Xel'Naga Watchtower, so you don't really want to do stuff like that. And as long as you have control of the Xel'Naga Watchtower, that just makes this map a much easier map to play, because suddenly if your opponent wants to counterattack, they really have to take a massive detour.
Yeah. Well, this could be the last game. In the top right is the Blue Zerg. He is sort of.
And this man is absolutely on fire in this matchup in particular, but overall, he's been a great player lately. He's had a great 2016. It's Calazur. He even said if they would make it, he'd feel relatively confident going up against Korea.
I really believe him when he says something like that, too. I mean, first of all, Calazur not someone that's known to just be grandiose and super overconfident, but also that he's gotten close to defeating Korean Terrans before, and just one day it's gonna happen. It's not gonna be a 3-2 in favor of Byun. It'll be, I guess, in this case, a 1-0 in favor of Calazur.
What's also very cool is that for a while, Calazur rose towards, let's say, popularity and fame in the North American scene relatively quickly. But then I felt there was a time he kind of stagnated, right? He was this Terran that was going to beat people that were worse than him, but he really wasn't causing a whole lot of upsets for a while. He's living in the root house. We expected great things of him because it was really fun to see a person that once upon a time was in an Intel Extreme Masters open bracket as a complete no-name. Then eventually joined Root, moved to America, and actually started to make a couple of decent runs. We're like, oh cool, that's a fun story to follow, but it just felt like his improvement stagnated. But lately I really feel he's on the uprising again, and he's starting to put down a couple of very good series and just have nice showings overall.
Absolutely agree. Actually, one of the fun stories to tell about Calazur is that one of the first times that I got to see him, it was Copa America years ago, where he got proxy Nexus by Huck. Back when that was the thing to do by Huck on ladder. So I don't think he likes anyone telling that story because, it was so long ago. It really isn't the Calazur that we see today, of course, but it is always a funny beginning. And now Calazur is going to maybe win it for Brazil and take him to the match against South Korea. That'd be quite the difference.
Well, we were spot on. This time it's not a 3 Rex Reaper opening. It's just going to be double refinery after this one Reaper, and he's dropping down that very first factory. It's going to be tricky for sort of to figure out exactly what's going on, because once again, this is a map where certain pushes, if you scouted just a tiny bit too late, that drone was gliding a little bit, but good save there by Sort of. This is a big game, man. A lot of pressure on the shoulders of Sort of as well. I really don't think that any of the 3 players of Team Sweden, even for a split second, considered that they would fall to Brazil today. At best they thought maybe one person drops a map against Calazur. Absolute worst scenario, it's 2. But even Master having a great showing as well.
Yeah.
It's
I feel like Master really tripped them up, because what if they think well, maybe Calazur can take 1 or 2 games and then we cut his momentum and then he can't get it back for the revival. I don't think they were really anticipating any pressure whatsoever by the other 2 players, and for Master of all people too, not Eric, guy we just do not know much about, to do it. That probably really changed the tone of their Skype group or whatever they have.
Yeah, this SCV is gonna go down. I wonder what he's gonna do with it. It's just a weird scout, I guess. What are you gonna do? Or is he gonna build SCV or depots there in the left bottom?
It'd be pretty cool to build a supply depot down there. Not that usually that's the pathway to take for Zerglings. Usually go through the base. This could be a second starport, but it'd be quite crazy.
It's actually, this is gonna be great.
Fusion
wow,
core.
very, very fast fusion core. Proxy as well. Now the Roach Warren. Man, this is gonna be insane.
This is actually super cool, because if he's going to go into Liberator range beyond this, it's not something that Zerg players are expecting. Battlecruisers? Is that what you're thinking? I don't know.
I don't know, man. Kalazur has been watching that Netania stream, and a lot of people, even in the pro scene, have been saying lately that the Battle Cruiser is kind of sleeping OP, because you don't really see it that often, and it's hard to get there. But once you have a couple of them, I mean, this is a great map for Liberator range, so I'm not going to go too carried away here. Yeah, it's probably going to be Liberate... Well, no! It's the BC Dream?
No.
Rip.
That's too bad. Yeah, it's going to be Liberator range. All right, so I'm not quite bringing out the bunny build here, but this was kind of popular a long time ago, back when Dusk Towers was still in the map pool. And of course, you might be a little suspicious. You don't see a Banshee after seeing a Starport with a tech lab. You start checking out that Fusion Core, you don't see it because it's proxied somewhere. That's going to be a big surprise, just sort of.
Yeah, that's going to be incredibly frustrating to play against as well. And look at that layer timing. I mean, the layer is not even started yet. It's double Evo before layer.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very gnarly. I love the early Viking as well, the good old Port Viking, so to speak. That's going to take out a couple of these Overlords. That's going to make it even harder for sort of to figure out what's going on. I mean, in the beginning, he already wasn't sure because Marines were denying a proper scout. This is really going to catch him off guard, and he's going to lose a lot of mining time. And the cool thing about a build like this as well is that you have a couple of additional minerals. He's dumping it into Hellions, so these Hellions could potentially get a couple of very sweet hits off too. Oh
yeah.
boy.
Yeah, this is going to be what's kind of funny about this is that the Liberators don't instantly just like a Widow Mine drop kill 10 workers, but I'll probably pull away, realize that it's range, and then just not be able to mine for so long. His lair's only halfway done. He sees a tech lab on the starport at this time, which is really odd looking, so we might be expecting Banshees, but I don't know if you expect Liberator range even here.
If only there was a single Zergling there on patrol on the left bottom side of the map. That would be so massive for sort of, but he has no idea that this is coming. This is going to be hard. I mean, right now he's up 12 workers, but soon there's going to be quite a few seconds where he's not going to be able to mine up the majority of the mineral patches, and this Liberator is already going to cover a couple of them, and now sort of will know what's up. So what do you do, right? You drop the Spire immediately.
Oh, you have to, yeah. I mean, for this position, a couple of Ravagers can technically take it out, but there's some other positions where really even Ravagers aren't going to be able to get back there. So he's not even pulling away like appropriately. He's losing more drones to a Viking at the 4th base too, because another response is just to expand and move your drones, because they're going to have so many Liberators. But this is doing so much damage, so much mining time lost, and the Spire only just started.
A couple of Hellions going to try to show up here as well, as those drones look awfully exposed before to just that single Viking, but sort of is on the money with that one. But if you take a look at the income right now, we'd love to see the income graph. You can just see there's quite a bit of lost mining time already. Kalazur is severely out mining, sort of good save there on this Liberator as well. Just look at the advantage that Kalazur is creating for himself.
Yeah, and he's going to be able to put down his 3rd CC on locations, and I believe that did finish up. He could probably take the gold, too. I mean, sort of is going to be messing up in so many different places. He's going to be losing drones, so direct damage, but he's also going to be messing up his macros. He realizes, like, oh my god, I can't do anything.
And of course, by the time that this is finally cleaned up by the very first Mutalisk or 1 or 2 Corruptors, whatever he decides to go for, then he's suddenly going to have to worry about a whole bunch of stimmed bio units that are going to have 1-1 upgrades as well, and that's going to be incredibly hard to survive against.
Oh, this is so abusive at that 3rd base. And the Hellions are still looking for what is an oversaturated 4th base, and oh, they found it. There's a couple of Lings, and I guess the Queens are still scary enough. But yeah, you're right about the bio follow-up. If the Hellions don't get the amazing drone kills, and I can't wait to see what Kalazur's main army is going to look like.
And Kalazur is actually just going to take the gold. Why not? I mean, he's realizing that sort of has lost so much mining time that it's very unlikely he has to worry about anything. So why not try to get away with it? He has quite a few barracks, pumping out as many Marines as he can. The only thing that's going to be a little bit late is Combat Shield, but Stim is already done. These Mutas will slowly... Actually, I think if he uses just 2 Liberators in the Viking, he will be able to deal with these 2 Mutalisks.
Yeah, right? There's really not a lot. He's trying to get more Mutalisks, but sort of actually has been pretty low on the gas as well. Now supply
sort
blocks.
of has no idea that this is coming. I don't think he had any vision at all on the other side of the map for quite some time. And this is the very first time he's going to see these units show up. These Queens were a little bit out of position as well. There's barely any Medivacs in his army, but does that matter? Are there enough Banelings?
I don't think so. A couple of slow Banelings going to go in here. There's a ton of Marauders and Hellbats to soak them up. And that just, I mean, I'm looking at the supplies right now. Sort of has more army somewhere, but it's just not big enough. A couple more Banelings rolling in, but a good split will take care of that.
Man, what a great build here by Kalazur. Great execution as well. Hiding that fusion core, not splitting the Marauders there on the right side, but he already took care of the fort, and that's obviously the most important thing. Behind this, there are so many additional Marines just walking across the map. He's still got 22 Marines at the moment with 1-1 upgrades, 2-2 well on its way. He's going to throw down a few more additional barracks as well, and Sweden is in an insane amount of trouble. This could very well be it for them.
Yeah, sort of holds on. He's going to try and reestablish his 4th base. He managed to save his drones, so still at 71, doesn't have to use any larva for that, and that's a good sign, but...
Wow, I'm so shocked. I really did not expect this. Now, obviously, it's still going to be very hard for Brazil to carry this into the next round, because the last hurdle to take before making it into the quarterfinals is going to be South Korea. But this was a great showing by both Master and Kalazur.
Exactly, both Master and Kalazur. So Kalazur obviously going to be finishing the game, or it looks like it, but it's not quite over. 70 supply, army supply to 70. Of course, the Zerg usually wants to be up, especially later on in the game, but sort of will have upgrades maybe for like 20 seconds. His meter count's getting a little bit higher, but a single drop or double drop in the main base is giving a lot of trouble.
Yeah, there's just almost no map vision for sort of at all, and that's going to make it so hard. He might be able to shut down one of these 2 medevacs, but Kalazur is probably just going to unload at the gold. There is a small link counter attack that's going to try to make something happen for sort of, but once again, almost no creep spread, almost no map presence. That is a very good counter, because if that fort finishes up and it's a planetary, then it's absolutely game over. So for now, sort of will hang in there for Svariga.
But his creep spread has certainly been hurting. His advantage, like his tech, is not going to be in close to hive anytime soon. Doesn't quite find the fusion core.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought he was going to find it this time, but it's not. I mean, even if Kalazur loses it right now, it doesn't really matter. He already has advanced ballistics, and it already created the advantage that he was looking for. Not expecting the meters are awfully clumped up there. I mean, this is a very strong, intimidating Terran army. What's the bailing count at? He really needs to have 12. It's going to be hard. Kalazur is very good in spreading his units before the fight. You know, it's old school bomber style, where you make sure he doesn't really overcommit. A couple of these Marines are very clumped up though, so those Bane's connections were actually quite decent, but in the end there is still a little too much firepower in this Terran army.
Yeah, nothing but roaches left over are going to be easily shredded by the bio. Mutas aren't able to help too much either. And it looks like this is the last stand for sort of and Sweden. GG.
Wow, Brazil will advance to the deciders match of Group Korea, where they will go up against South Korea in a very surprising chain of events. And, you know, I'm just impressed. I thought it was awesome to watch some very fun games between Brazil and Sweden. But of course, Kalazur busting out that funky last build here on the habitation station. And this is that very first important big push with the stint bio, and it was enough.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you know, sort of really, he hung on, right? Like, this wasn't just like, oh, why hasn't he tapped out already? But Kalazur had such a momentum game from this Liberator build. He's going to have a tech advantage eventually, too, as his upgrade's going to start. And of course, all he had to do was micro, and splits are good enough.
Habitation Station is a tricky map where a lot of builds that would not necessarily work on other maps can work on this one, and I guess this is one of them. Good old advanced ballistics openings. Haven't seen it that much lately. It was very popular for a while.
It was.
But on a lot of maps it was kind of easy for a Zerg to sniff out. They could just indeed take other bases, or sometimes they would just bust down the front of the Terran.
That too.
But that's also very hard to do on Habitation, because, you know, it's not a wide open ramp. It's a very tiny little ramp. So do you really want to go all in, put all your eggs in one basket with Tournament Live on the line? It's a very hard call to make. Congratulations to Brazil.
Yeah, of course, they're not out of the group yet. To go on to face South Korea is quite... that's going to be the next achievement, I suppose. Killing 4 Zergs, I suppose, in a row is really cool and all, but now you're going to get 2 Terrans and a Protoss, all from South Korea.
Yeah, Kalazur, not just today, but even before, he also had a pretty damn good showing already. Once again, the Terrans are dominating, man. Somebody actually linked me the statistics yesterday and said, like, well, Rod, it's actually really not that bad as you make it sound, as Terran did win a whole bunch of games, but so did the Zergs. But I feel with every Nation War we cast, I just feel like more and more Terrans are shining in these non-mirror matchups, obviously, and it's cool to see Kalazur having his fair share of success too.
Did they account for the amount of Zergs compared to the amount of Terrans too?
And also, you know, obviously, like, some stats can be a little bit deceiving, because, you know, if you have Scarlet go up against one of the weaker nations, then obviously she's going to dominate. Either way, we can take a look at the bracket as we are, well, at the deciders match. On the south side of the bracket, Korea is going to go up against Brazil. That's a match that already happened. Back then, it was an all-kill for Beyond, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because Kalazur tried to proxy Reaper him on Vani.
He tried. Gun was all too prepared for that.
And I had a little bit of banter as well in that last game where he made the little poop emoji.
Poop times 4.
Times 4. That was probably the greatest friendly smack talk I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if Brazil can make beyond eat those words, as we're going to head over to a very small break, and after that we'll be back with Brazil versus South Korea.